Welcome back to 7th Grade Mustache. On today's episode, we'll be speaking about the dark side of music. Before we get to that, we want to speak to the nature of sound and how it can be manipulated on a deeper level to affect humanity. When you learn about cymatics, you find that it is a really cool and mind-blowing topic. It's actually the study of visible sound and vibration. One of the people in modern history that focused intensely on this was a German physicist. His name was Ernst Schladen, and he spent a great deal of his time digging deep into the science of sound and how it affects our behavior process and our health. Another example of sound is a structure that was built by the Knights Templar, and it's called the Rosslyn Chapel. And the Rosslyn Chapel is a sound vehicle for those who know how to drive it. When you go inside the chapel, if you look inside the chapel and you see sculptures made of stone, they have strange geographical shapes and designs. It's because these cubes or these stones have been carved to respond to tone and frequency. And for the scary, timid Christian, they call it the devil's tone, because when these tones are played in a chord together, in a musical chord, it can open a doorway into another dimension, into the astral plane. It makes you wonder, what was the purpose of this chapel? Because the Knights Templar were known to practice white and dark magic, and they were burned at the stake with Jacques de Molay for all types of heretical practices. But another example of the use of sound and its manipulation is the Integratron. The Integratron was built in Landers, California, in the Mojave Desert in 1947 by a Mr. George Van Tassel, who was an engineer who worked for Lockheed, who was working on building rockets at the time. And this structure is built in the Mojave Desert north of Joshua Tree, and it's 38 feet tall. It's a dome, 55 feet in diameter, and it's used for health, wellness, levitation, and time travel. That is not a fabrication. That's actually a sign that's posted at the entrance to the Integratron. So people have noted that when they enter the Integratron, this geodesic dome, is that they feel elevated. They feel lighter. When they go in there, they feel standing waves of sound and energy. And so there have been concerts there. There's been all types of weird, probably secret society rituals and goat sacrifices, all types of weird stuff.
Yeah, all kinds of orgies and shit.
Right.
Gotcha.
But it kind of also makes me think of that movie 12 Monkeys, where people were able to time travel without a device. And their vessel, their traveling vessel through time was the human body.
Consciousness.
It was the consciousness.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, they were moving their consciousness forward and backwards through time.
Right.
That's dope.
Yep, exactly. And so the Integratron is a device that some believe can be used for such things. But those are the positive aspects of sound manipulation. We're going to just carry on a little bit more speaking about the positive aspects. Consider the Tibetan monks who use chanting and vocal intonations to levitate rocks. And so often heard the term that music can heal. Music soothes the savage beast.
Yes. Those vibrations.
The vibrations. And it does. But it makes you wonder why it's really like that. Because it's all based on science, yes. But as we've been taught, music was created by Satan, by the devil. Because
Lucifer.
He was the most beautiful angel. And so he created music. He had whole choirs singing to the glory of God. And so I use the word choirs to lead into gospel music, because in America, most soul singers up until a certain point in time started off as gospel singers in the church. And that's how they developed these powerful, stirring voices that moved you, that inspired you. Soul singers, people that sang from the depths of their being. And so these...
You weren't hearing the sound, you were hearing their soul. They were sharing something with you.
That's right. And so these people, they would go out into the world and became more and more worldly. They became tempted by money and fame and drugs and excessive things that led them away from the light and into the dark. You know, you hear about all these singers, all these people talking about they sold their soul, going back to Robert Johnson, and how Robert Johnson, a blues man,
Guitar player,
son. He's a guitar player.
Guitar.
And he talked about how he met the devil at the crossroads in Mississippi.
Now, hold on. But the reason that's so deep is that because in a lot of black folklore, voodoo and everything else, it tells you if you go to the crossroads at midnight and you wait, you'll meet a stranger. That stranger is the devil. Now, you got to understand, like what my brother was telling you earlier, we learned in church that Lucifer was the one that felt like, okay, he got kicked out. He took a third of the motherfuckers with him. But you learn that there's a way to meet these people. There's a way to meet this person, whether it's Lucifer, Satan, Hasatan, whatever you want to call the nigga, or whichever one it is. And that's another thing that they tell you when you start reading, or when you start really reading deep, is that it's different. These are different entities. But the bottom line is that this musical vibration has legitimate, real power. Physical, not just playing musical, physically alter things. Whether we spoke earlier about moving the pyramids, and that's how they built the pyramids, or this has the ability to make people do very bad things. We grew up at the same time in the 80s, and you would always hear, if you play these records backwards, you would hear these spells or the satanic shit, and everybody thought it was a joke. But more and more you read, you find out these motherfuckers were putting shit in there. Now, whether the shit works,
but hang on.
Conversation.
Hold on. Let's pause it there for a second, because you're referring to the satanic panic. The satanic panic in the 80s, in the 90s.
70s and 80s. Yeah.
It was related.
You think it was still around? Do you think, I'll ask you a question as a homie. Do you think it was still around in the 90s or not? Because I thought it was. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because Marilyn Manson and shit like.
Well, see, that's why Christian rock was created, almost as an antidote to that. They're like, listen,
combat that.
We're not going to stop these kids from listening to rock music. So let's take Christ and put that with guitar riffs.
Give them an alternative. Yeah,
right.
I got you. I dig it. Okay.
Now, here's the problem, though. The satanic panic was not just the rock music. It was also a series of investigations that happened.
Yes.
That were based around these cults that infiltrated child care facilities. And they would use these child care facilities to get children and lure them away from there and kidnap them and use them for sacrifices. Now, most people poo-poo this idea, but it was found to be an actual fact. There was an FBI special agent who investigated these things for quite some time. And he found that there's a caste system to this, because you have the low-level workers who go and they get the children. And those are the people who work for the handlers. The handlers are the people who pay the kidnappers. They pay the kidnappers, and they arrange the facilities to drop off these kids to another handler for powerful, rich, influential people. And so what you have is this network system of people who grab the kids, they hand them off to somebody else, and then that person then takes the kids to a person who procures children specifically for ritual murders. And then that celebrity or that politician just has to walk into a room wearing some goofy looking cloak or a gown, say their little incantation, pull out a dagger and stab the child, or after they've molested them, so they can harvest their adrenal glands for the adrenochrome. So this is related to music, because you have to understand what went on in the 80s and the 70s at that time. You had all these rock bands that were talking about the devil. And you had all these crucifixes upside down and pentagrams upside down. And I sold my soul, I sold my soul, I sold my soul. Now, what's crazy
Bob Dylan.
But a lot of these rock singers would talk about how they were influenced by Robert Johnson. And he would talk about the crossroads, and he'd talk about he sold his soul and this and that. So it's a circle. It's like a snake devouring its tail. It goes on in this circle. And it's all about things that come back to evil. So it makes you wonder.
But hold it. Yeah, here's the deep thing about Robert Johnson. So he goes to Crossroads. He meets the devil. He signs a contract. So the crazy part, one of the things that we discussed in private about how evil the music industry is, even to this day, the signing of the contract is a big part of the music industry. In fact, people celebrate signing their contract. Now,
but where else do you have a contract though? It's a pact.
When you make a deal, when you make a Faustian deal, when you make a deal
that
with the
Faustian.
So
G versus E, shout out.
So what we're trying to explain to you is that the roots of the music industry have always been coated in some evil shit. Now, we're not saying all music is bad, no, but we're telling you that vibrations matter. That when you put certain melodies together, this matters. That you actually control somebody's behavior. You know, back in the day, they were talking about casting spells and this music and all this other shit. I was a kid. I went to church. I shrugged that shit off. Now that I'm older and I'm watching Teen Titans and I'm hearing that spell that Raven does. I talked to a satanic white dude. Part of that spell is a real spell. I'm like, what the hell? So the idea that this is just some fiddle faddle and some bullshit, be careful. Be careful what you're saying. Like I said, nowhere else do you see the celebration of a signing of a contract. Maybe sports industry is a big deal. You know, you see people get drafted, but the signing of a contract is some symbolic shit, and you got to be careful about that. Johnson signed a contract with the devil. Are you signing a contract with the devil, or you know, are you giving your soul away? What are you doing? And how many of these stars from the, you know, we saw this a lot in the 70s and 80s. You would see these kid stars, or you would see these young people get big, and then all of a sudden they would just like CeCe Peniston, like, fuck it, I'm not doing this no more. And you're like, why would she do that? There's these people are exposed to some evil shit. And they're like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's not me. That's not how I was raised. But these other people, when you grow up broke enough, you will mortgage your soul for a little bit of something. And that shit ain't cool.
Well, you would often hear that, man, all that devil worshiper stuff, that's some white people shit. That's some white people shit. For the most part, though, it was in popular culture because yeah. So, but you didn't hear about this a lot in popular black culture unless it was on the fringes or if you knew how to listen for it. But, okay, for example, if you go back and you listen to like R&B from the beginning, like going all the way back into time, I mean, you can start in the beginning and you can start at the beginning, skip ahead of blues and start in the beginnings of R&B. You don't really hear about it anywhere. But yet these people that were in the music industry, they were familiars because they were at these parties and they would get into conversations. They'd be doing drugs and they would have these conversations with these people that would show up at the parties that belong to these groups or belong to these secret societies or like to practice dark magic. And so you would start.
If you don't believe this, but pay attention to a lot of comedians. You hear these comedians talk about this shit. Mm-hmm. You hear people that talk about it. That's because these people weren't meant. There's certain people out there that ain't meant to be courted. You dig what I'm saying?
But hang on, hold on. Let me finish where I'm going with this. These people, these R&B artists, they would go to these parties and they would meet these familiars. And if you know how to look for these things, you would start to see these musicians start to wear more and more black in their photo ops. Mm-hmm. Or in their promotional photos, their album covers. And they start to wear more and more black. You know, but when you look at their earlier photograph or examples of their promotional kits, they were all colorful and happy and all this stuff. And if you look at some of these people who started practicing the dark arts, they start wearing more and more black, and their music starts to change, and it starts to become grounded in heaviness. I'm not even gonna say darkness, but just heaviness. And if you look, you can see it. But I want to jump straight up to hip hop. Okay, bring it forward to hip hop, and we're gonna skip over Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne and all that stuff, and go straight to names like Tupac, Biggie Smalls, DMX, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Beyonce, Katy Perry, Kesha, Nicki Minaj, Lil Uzi Vert, all these people in one song, or it might be several songs,
or another,
they talk about they sold their soul. DMX talks about he sold his soul on 3 different occasions in his music. Snoop Dogg in Murder Was a Case talks about selling his soul. Eminem.
Now,
hold on.
See?
Eminem on more than one occasion. And when his when his records stopped selling, I mean, like, you know, they weren't like as popular as they had been in the later part of his career. He had his whole songs about killing people and talking from the devil's perspective. Beyonce.
And committing
suicide. Beyonce spoke in coded language on several songs. All right. And then Katy Perry. Katy Perry talks about it all the time. The song Dark Horse. That is straight coded devil satanic shit.
Hold it, my brother. You left one out. You left one out. Who doesn't talk about it? But you got to understand what she's saying. When Rihanna talks about shine bright like diamond, who is she talking about?
I ain't got to her yet, but go ahead.
Oh, okay, but I'm just saying. But who is she? Diamond in the sky. She's talking about Lucifer. So you understand that Lucifer is the morning star. Christ is the bright and morning star. So when these people are talking about the morning star, Venus, they're talking about Lucifer. Shine bright like a diamond. She's telling you about Lucifer in the sky. But hold on. So here's the difference, because I got to throw it out there for my people. Lucifer is knowledge. Christ is the truth. Lucifer is the morning star. Christ is the bright and morning star. It sounds crazy, but these subtle differences is what gets people sucked into this shit. Like when they first get introduced to this depth, this crazy stuff, these little play on words is what sucks them in, because they're looking for something. And so they think they're looking for knowledge. Black man, black woman, white woman, whatever your ethnicity is, you should be looking for truth. Truth should always be your ultimate goal in this shit, because if you're looking for knowledge, knowledge changes every day. Knowledge will always change. You can read a textbook from the 80s and read a textbook now, and you ain't going to find the same shit.
Yeah, but what kind of knowledge are you talking about? Because it's the intent on the knowledge seeker.
That's my point. You should be searching for the truth. See, knowledge is one of these play words they use in these secret societies, and you're like, oh yeah, knowledge is good, but you should always search for the truth. If you're searching for the truth, everything else will fall into place. But if you're looking for knowledge, they're gonna hit you with some shit, and they're gonna suck you into this lifestyle, and that's what happens with these people. Like I was a Tupac fan, but you didn't hear about Biggie selling his soul. You heard about Pac. Pac made the deal. When you read these different articles and these people that were like, hey, Pac made that deal. You know, when he does this and goes from this to that. And again, I told you, signing of the contract is a big fucking deal. It's a hustle. And what's happening is that it's become so commonplace to where we don't recognize it as being a bad thing anymore. It's actually a good thing. And when that happens, then you get sucked into some ritualistic bullshit and don't realize it. You know, and so when you hear about these songs, they're casting spells in these songs, and you're like, nah, it's no big deal. I don't believe that shit. It doesn't matter if you believe it. What it matters is that if the nigga next to you believes it and decides to kill your daughter or kill, people are doing this shit. So music is very powerful. Vibrations are powerful. This is not a joke. Why do you think they fight so hard for this industry that ain't making the money it used to make? Because they're not fighting for money, they're fighting for souls. Don't ever forget that shit. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, dude.
Back to the number of people who sold their souls, or at least talk about it. So Biggie Smalls talks about it in the earlier parts of his career. On his first album, he talks about it. And it's very straight out and simple. He's like, I'd rather go to hell. Because he talks about I'd rather go to hell. I'm going to go to hell when I die because I sold my soul, blah, blah, blah. That ain't shit that you just joke about. You don't just joke about shit like that and be like, I sold my soul. No, man, don't even speak in that way, because words sound power. Words have power. It's sound.
That's deep. But who was he imitating? Miles Davis. Remember, Miles Davis said something very similar. So when you hear these artists say it, you equate it back to something else. Okay, he's just making light of this situation. Is this a joke? Are they joking, or are they really letting you know something?
But why would you joke like that?
How about this? Is that a plea for help? This nigga could have been asking for help.
But this the crazy part. This is the crazy part.
Come get me.
All of them ask for help after they do it. None of them do it and they're like, I'm cool, I'm good. None of them do that. All of them realize that, you're gonna be ass raped by winged demons,
gargoyles and shit.
No, man.
Yeah.
No, dude. All of them, every single person that I mentioned, all of them complain about how it's a bad choice. Katy Perry is on interviews crying about this shit. Motherfucking, what's her name? Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj, oh goofy ass, is doing songs about how she has a split personality, how she's possessed, and there's a spirit of a little boy inside of her. All these things that people would call bipolar disorders and all this bullshit. No, man, you want to put a fancy ass name on it, but the piccolo player's a motherfucker. I know a hustle when I see one.
Here's the deal. For those who who think Kanye is crazy, go back to what was the video
Kanye
he had
talks
that
about it.
Spike
He
Jones?
he talks about it.
Yeah, so pay attention. Kanye had about 5 or 6 videos about it. People just didn't know what they were
Are you talking about
doing.
before or
So
after
watch the
Jesus
video.
walks?
It was after. These videos were after Jesus walks. So after Jesus walks, there's a video that Spike Jones directs. I can't remember the name of it. And you see Kanye has all these girls. He's having sex in black and white. He's like, "Hey, you're an angel," and all this bullshit, right? But then you see him do some weird shit, and you got to pay attention to this shit because I got to break it down for you. You see him. He has like a shoe, and he's banging like this one shoe.
Right.
That is Hebrew for you just sold some land. That means you sold some land. But
It's
this nigga ain't
symbolism.
sold land. So what did he say? He sold, very good. He sold his soul. He's showing you symbolically that he sold his soul. Now fast forward to the one video he had where, remember, the girl falls out of heaven. Nicki Minaj is rapping, and she's like this bird and shit. I'm like, so who is the angel that fell out of heaven?
Right.
Lucifer. Pay attention. So you fast forward. I'm sorry. What you said, bro?
No. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So fast forward in the video. So now it's a bunch of black folks sitting at the table. They're eating, and he has his girlfriend with him who looks like a bird. And the black guy said something to him, like, "Oh, is your girlfriend a bird or some weird shit like that?" He's like, "Nah." What he's telling you, this ain't a bird, nigga. This is an angel. This is a fallen angel. This is Lucifer. And so then all of a sudden you got all the white folks serving the black folks. He's telling you, he's like, "Hey, these niggas is too dumb to know that I worship the devil." He's telling you this. Pay attention. And he's like, I'm hitting you with this positive black shit, but y'all don't recognize what I'm really doing. He's symbolically explaining because
he's pacifying people.
He can't help himself. He's that arrogant. So, but now fast forward to last year, a couple years ago, where this dude is going crazy. Is what happened? He came to realization, like, hey man, this ain't me. This is not how I was raised. How do I get out this deal? And what's the hardest thing to do? Get out a music industry contract. You got rappers that have lifelong contracts. The hardest thing you can do is get out of a contract. Now, here's an example of how fucked up a contract is. What did Jay-Z do to Kanye? Jay-Z used Kanye's masters to get back his masters. So what does it tell you? The only way to do this shit is to give up somebody else's soul for you to get your soul back. There's some fucked up shit out there. Pay attention, y'all. Pay attention.
Lady Gaga is another example.
Yes.
Of a
the
person.
name Lady Gaga is actually some satanic shit from some kind of female demon from back in the day, but that's another conversation. Go ahead, my brother.
Right, but it's also been said many times that she had Lady Morgana, who was the person that she stole her ideas from, murdered and sacrificed, and used her as a blood sacrifice to
I didn't hear that. Oh, goddamn.
Yeah. And so,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she had them pushed off the top of a hotel in Los Angeles. So, this brings me to Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga has basically this, took her playbook from Lady Morgana / Madonna. And Madonna, of course, she's been doing all this, ironic
cabal shit now. Yeah.
Well, but before she was doing all this, she was doing all this religious imagery in her music videos and in her press release, photo ops and all this shit. So, but anyway, going back to Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga, when she first played the Super Bowl, nobody was paying attention. But the floor, there was a carpet that was rolled out, and it was a checkerboard carpet. Whenever you see a checkerboard floor and there's any type of major event or there's some coded symbolism, the checkerboard floor comes from masonry. The checkerboard floor is a direct tie to anything Masonic or a Masonic ritual. Because if you ever go inside of a temple or you see the inside of a temple, the place where they have their symbolic rituals, there's going to be a checkerboard floor. So, in this ritual, this halftime show at the Super Bowl, she basically reenacts the fall from heaven of Lucifer. She's being lowered from above. She's being lowered from this beautiful angelic state down into chaos. And if you look at the choreography of the dance that's going on below her, you see that she's being lowered down into, what will be hell. And then, like, as soon as she comes down, everything, all the lighting turns red. So then you have all this
Hmm.
symbolic red lighting and the symbolic fall of, Lucifer from heaven after he lost the war in heaven. These people are doing this in your face. In your face, nigga, in your face. They doing it in your
Don't
face,
forget
man, and they don't
the
care.
the VM. The one you brought up earlier that I thought you were going to finish on was the VMA ritual when Nikki was doing Roman and she was dancing with the Pope and she was dressed in red. That's when Whitney died. A lot of shit was done around Whitney's death. And one of the things that you got to remember is that when you look at the Brandy Monica video and you see Brandy in the bathtub, that was the pose where that's the pose they found Whitney in. So they're telling you that these people are sacrifices. They're telling you that these people that they worship bad shit. They're telling you that because they can't help themselves. But also, what happens is that since people don't believe in it and they don't know what they're looking at, they dismiss it as just, oh, this is just some artistic bullshit. No, they are showing you in your face that they are evil, evil. And like I said, Whitney was a very powerful sacrifice. And but all this stuff that was happening with Roman and Nicki Minaj and she's showing you we worship the devil. Now all of a sudden, like my brother just told you, they get into trouble and they want to take it back. Like, oh, hey, this shit ain't working, man. I want to have kids now. I want to be normal again. Fuck you.
But that's the thing. They
Look,
all cry and they all complain. And they all
look, look.
they all want
We,
their
we,
life
we were
back.
talking
They all want
earlier
their soul
about the
back.
con. We were talking earlier about the contract, like some of the stuff we say off the air, yeah, and we were talking about like we were talking about how people dispute this whole contract thing so badly and shit, and other people love it. That's because they gave you money up front, or they gave you this, or you always hear about Puffy, Birdman, Suge Knight doing all these bad shit. Hell, that's because they work for the devil. They literally do not give a fuck. They're taking advantage of these kids. Or me and you were making fun of Joe Budden arguing with Yachi over his deal. Like motherfucker, it's funny how the motherfuckers that they don't have any real talent want to give all this advice because the devil didn't want this. You ain't gonna bring people over to his side or Lucifer's side, whatever you want to call it. They only want the motherfuckers that are going to win people over to their side. So if you ain't got no real talent, you ain't got no real ability, shut the fuck up and stay the fuck off the field because you're not who they're looking for. But when you got these motherfuckers at the Super Bowl, like my brother just told you, and you see that checkerboard, that is 100% a Masonic. That is a ritual. They are doing some shit in front of you. You don't know who the players are. You don't understand the language that's being spoken. That's all it is.
So it makes sense though why there have been gatekeepers for so long in the music industry because these gatekeepers were dark arts practitioners that were maintaining a status quo that allowed them to keep their hands on the reins of power. And so, therefore, that's how their message gets out. You have
Yep.
to go through this vetting system. And they say, well, this one hasn't sold their soul yet, but we can bend this person to our will. Or this person, we already have them because they sold their soul. Let's just start by saying it's a jip, it's a con. You don't have to sell your soul because it's not theirs to take. It's not the devil's to keep. So that's the problem. People are giving away something that the recipient can't keep. They can't retain.
Can't hold on to. Can't hold
They
on
can't
to.
hold on to it. But it's your submission. It's your submission. It is the mind fuck that you do on yourself that allows you to be in this mental penitentiary that you, along with the warden, being the devil, or the record industry person that
Your handler.
introduced you, your
Yeah.
handler, has created. People
Look,
imprison
look
themselves all the time. They do it because they want to be part of a club. They want to be part of
Yes,
something
yes, preach,
that is
preach.
lower than them. They want to lower themselves. You know what it's like? It's like that child that you may have known on your block that was raised by good people, that has good parents, that has a good family, well
They want to
educated,
snort weed, snort cocaine, and do yeah,
and
yeah,
this person wants
lower
to
themselves.
hang with these knuckleheads and bring themselves down. And the only thing that winds up happening is that person begins to lose parts of themselves year after year because the crowd is going to
Destroy their
change
family.
as they grow older,
Mm.
or they'll move to another state, or they'll join the military, or whatever. But that person starts to lose more and more of their prenatal chi, the gift that they get from the Creator that makes them
Ho- ho- ho-
wonderful.
hold up, Roscoe, back up. You just said some deep shit. Why would this person do this? You're like, why? Because they feel like they're missing out on something. This is social engineering on a small level, but they're doing it to
There
all
you
of us
go.
right now
Now
with
speak to
COVID.
that. Speak
But
to that.
yeah, but there's social engineering where you're not selling enough records, or Outkast outsold you, Jay Z. What are you going to do this time? And so suppose they didn't get you on the ground level. You didn't sell your soul when you first got there because you got real talent and you ignored this shit. And so you work your way up, but then all of a sudden it becomes your career, and then you find out that you're only getting 25% of the money. Because 75% goes to the record company. The rest you're fighting over 25%, and you ain't got shit. So what are you gonna do? You'll sell your soul. You'll do this fucking messed up shit and then they let you know. Well, such a Prince did it. Michael Jackson did it. Well, you think you're better than Michael Jackson? You got to do this shit. You have to do this shit to maintain. And it's social engineering, and they fuck with you, and they fuck with you. Or worse, you're getting older. You're a man, woman. You're getting older. You're past your prime. You might not have another hit in you, but you'll do whatever the fuck it takes. And so you say, or how about this? You're new in the industry. You the hot thing. You Kendrick Lamar. Suppose they give you Rihanna. You start fucking that bitch because you couldn't get that bitch on your own. You got a wife and kids at home, whatever. But all of a sudden you fucking a bitch that you never could pull. And she says, "Hey, if you want this pussy again, nigga, you gotta give it." You do that shit because one, you've already showed weakness here and there. Two, everybody around you is doing it because that's good enough. This social engineering is some real shit. It's fake pressure, but it
Hey,
has real results.
hey.
And
Let's
that's
let's
what we
let's
got.
stop using fancy words and tell it like it really is. It's pimping. Okay.
Oh, pimping is pimping. Yeah. Oh my nigga. Okay, pimping. I stopped being black. I got a real corporate on you. So let me explain how this pimping works. Pimping is when you create a need in a person that really don't need you. See, a pimp knows like I could beat the hoe's ass, or I can give the hoe a lie. Like when you read that book Iceberg Slim, see when Dave Chappelle came back, all those who thought Dave sold out, Dave didn't sell out. But Dave tells you in one of his performances when he talks about Iceberg Slim, he said, he talks about mileage on a hoe. And he said, and this hoe had too many miles on her, and he couldn't get nothing else out of her. So she said, "I'm done. I ain't doing this shit no more. I ain't giving you no more of my money." And he said, "Hey, I need you to just turn one more trick. You're one of my best hoes." So he sends her to meet this guy. Well, all of a sudden, the guy dies. She calls him, "Daddy, Daddy." The guy died. He said, "I'll take care of it." So he calls. So the other guy shows up in a white suit, the doctor, whatever, handles it, and he's like, "Girl, you still owe me money because you killed this man." And so what did she do? She continued to work for him. Now, ain't nobody dead in that motherfucker. That wasn't even a real doctor. That pimp created that situation. But when you create the situation, you can coax somebody into doing anything. That's pimping. That's stone cold pimping. The music industry is based on that. The devil creates a need in you that she don't need this motherfucker to be successful. Or what it is he changed your idea of success to this. Back in the day, your idea of success was just eating every day and taking care of your kids. All of a sudden, you become famous. Now you need money, cars, hoes, and clothes to be successful. You don't need that shit because that shit is not essential. There ain't no nutrients in none of that shit you just named, motherfucker. Ain't nothing in that shit that will make you become anything. So when you recognize that they create a fake need, that's pimping. So you can't until you see pimping, you don't get pimping. But that is pimping.
Right.
See, I'm sorry, my nigga. You right. I should have told you. You right.
But wait.
You right, brother.
But
Keep
wait.
preaching.
But wait. Who is the bottom bitch in this situation? The bottom bitch in this situation is the artist, the popular artist for the record label that has been
That drags other artists in.
that drags other artists in. But see, here's is not just there. it's not just the other musicians that this person brings in. It's the entire fan base. It's the entire
Oh my
fan
God.
base that will drink this Jim Jones Kool-Aid
That
and
13-year-old girl with that poster of the Backstreet Boys.
will
Oh my
fight
God.
people. They will fight people, anybody who talks bad about this singer or this musician. I've seen people get into straight up slap boxing contests, fights over dumb shit related to some music. And I'm like, what are you doing? Fuck you doing, man? Like, you are carrying water for somebody who don't give a fuck about you. You don't even know this person. Why would you defend a person you don't know? Same thing happens in politics all the time. People are just tearing themselves apart over motherfuckers who laugh at you at the end of the day, and they go and they have a drink together. This is professional wrestling, okay? But this professional wrestling is also happening at the record label level.
Hold it. You missed one. You missed one. Don't forget about the East Coast, West Coast beat.
Yes, totally artificial, completely artificial.
People were really killing each other over this shit.
No. But not even that though. The gang situation is wrestling. It's professional wrestling. It's professional wrestling between government organizations. Because I'm just gonna not only going to just say the alphabet ones, but I'm gonna say government organizations and the narco traffickers, and then you have the OGs or the heads that control the gangs that interface with the narco traffickers, and the narco traffickers interface with the alphabet agencies and the government agencies. So that's all pro wrestling. You see, it's all a pimp game. But yet people want to dress things up and use fancy words, and they don't want to see things for what they really are. Discernment. Those people that we were talking about in the very beginning, those singers, those soul singers who started off in gospel back in the day, developing their powerful voices and, honing their spirit towards performances and worship. They fell for professional wrestling and pimping, and they lost their way. And they became the bottom bitch because they got out here in the world and some record executive, slick talking, made them a deal, an offer they couldn't refuse. And so they signed that contract. And you had all these black musicians who didn't have the damn sense to go and read their contracts. They put their trust in people that don't give a shit about them, that don't know them, not related to them. And they were fucked out of millions and maybe even billions, and you say it collectively, billions of dollars. So the pimp game is strong, and especially when it comes to the devil. And there's an excellent quote in the movie, classic film. If you haven't seen it, go watch a movie called The Usual Suspects. I'm going to give you one spoiler, not the whole spoiler, but there's a line at the end of the movie where one of the main characters said, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled on man is convincing him that he didn't exist.
Yep.
Shh. Listen, man.
Here's the deepest thing.
Hold on a second. This crazy part. Christians believe in the devil. Jews believe in the devil. Muslims believe in the devil. Why don't you? You see what I'm saying?
See, here's the biggest thing. Because just so people have a little back history. Me and my boy write scripts all the time. We'll sit down and write a script. We don't do the shit with it. But one of the things you got to understand, and one of the scripts I wrote, that once you realize the devil exists, that's an admission that God exists.
Oh, wait. Well, hold on. That was a megaton. You just dropped a mega Kamehameha. Say it again. Say it again.
See, I do it. You got to remember, I put this in a couple of my scripts. Once you realize the devil exists, that should be the thing that proves to you that God exists. So if one is here, the duality. Other one is here. Because it's not just duality. You got to remember, Lucifer got kicked out. He came from heaven. So once you see this evil...
No. When I say duality, I'm talking about the light and the dark, the yin and the yang.
Yes.
It applies.
I know what you meant. Yeah, no, I know what you meant. But this is even more proof of that power. So this should make your faith grow. This should make you have your faith. What it is, you got to understand is
Hold on.
that
It
faith
should make your
thing
faith what?
stronger. See what it is see, I really don't. This is how I piss people off. I don't have faith. I know this is knowledge.
Hey, turn off that
God
goddamn
exists.
phone, man. Turn off the goddamn phone. You're fucking up the recording.
I know. I'm having text messages. We'll tell
Yeah,
about that
just put it on
later.
silent, bro. Put your phone on silent.
It
You're
is
killing me
on
right
silent.
now.
Well, it is on silent. It's just I got a couple meetings going on. I'm supposed to meet with some people. Sorry about that. What I'm trying to explain to you people, you must understand this: that the fact that the devil exists, he's a product of God. So that tells you God exists. So fuck this faith thing. That faith, no, it's not about faith. It's about knowledge. Once you recognize one, then you have knowledge. The other one exists 100%. I know that there's a God. It's not a question. It's not a faith. It is. I don't have faith. I got knowledge of something that just because I can't see it, it's there. Just because you
But hang
can't
on.
see
It's
those.
knowledge of self and knowledge of the Creator.
Mm-hmm. Period. Because I'm here, that means Elohim is here. I'm a proof of Elohim. Not Elohim gives me proof
But see,
of him.
but that's the problem, though.
proof
A
of
lot of
Elohim.
people stop at knowledge of self. That's where they park
Yes.
it. They're always because what it is, they hear terms that and they parrot these terms over and over. And I'm like, all right,
That's
cool.
deep.
That's the beginning of it.
No,
Knowledge of self is the
and
beginning. It is not the end of your journey.
that's how they get you with the word knowledge. And I told you, when these people are searching for knowledge, you'll always get fucked. Your quest should be for the truth. If you look for the truth, you'll be fine. But if you're looking for knowledge, because they hit you with, hey, you need knowledge of self just to have this, and they hit you with all this bullshit and this shit that you can't see, and you like, oh yeah, man, that's pimping. He just gave you enough game for you to get wrapped up, but he ain't give you enough game for you to actually be a player. That see, you're right, man. I should have been using the word pimping the whole time. You got pimped by a bigger pimp. That's all it is, and you got to pay attention to that shit. If you're not, you're gonna get sucked in. You're gonna get used and abused.
Pimping is real. Pimping happens all the time, every day. Corporate pimping, political pimping, pimping inside of households, pimping in schools, pimping in the music industry, pimping in the film industry. It's everywhere. You see,
Pimping in government and politics. Don't leave that out because that's what's going on. The reason a real pimp doesn't vote is because he sees both sides as playing each other and they playing y'all towards the middle. Y'all arguing over shit that don't even exist. You're arguing over non-tangible shit, my nigga. That's what this is about.
yes, 100, 100, 100. Yeah, it doesn't exist. But see, but that's the whole thing. Like your people are being completely faked out. You know what it is? It's the shell game, or that you know that you see those hustlers on 42nd Street in New York
Monty.
City. Yeah, they're doing the 3-car Monty. Like the 3-car Monty has been, it's the one game that has been working over and over and over. And you know what? Even on the most slickest, hardest motherfuckers think they haven't fallen for it. They're still falling for it. They still for sports. You know, people are still falling for this shit and they don't realize it. But the music aspect of it, what you have to understand is these people that you kowtow toward and you pay fealty towards in the music industry, they are the bootlickers of the most powerful and dangerous people around because they don't realize that with their music, they can open portals, that they can actually cut stone and build pyramids because they're swimming in this soup of sexual fluids and drugs and alcohol and fame, and they can't see beyond their own dashboard. They can't see the true potential and the power of what they really wield because they've been pimped into thinking that, okay, stop there, don't go beyond this, just make your songs, do your little dance, and you get some money, and you get a house in the
You got
hills,
money,
and you're good.
You got a house of cards. Yeah, you got it. You made it. You
Like-
big, son. You big.
Like, hold on, wait a minute. So you're telling me that I shouldn't take my synthesizers and my guitars and tune them to a certain key and hook it up to a generator and hook it up to a loudspeaker system and open doors and bring in things, I shouldn't do that? Or does that make me more powerful than you? I don't get it. So, but if I open that door and I bring in even more darkness, then I've taken your job because you were a gatekeeper. What if I just open the gate? So they don't understand. They don't understand that they can then use sound to heal. They could probably go to major cities and set up clinics where they just go and they heal people of whatever ails them through sound. They don't realize that because, again, they're in that hot tub that's filled with all the things that they want. They're like
With
babes
carnal
in
knowledge.
Toyland.
Carnal.
Yes, exactly. Babes in Toyland. They're drunken with delight from all the toys that they have around them that were placed there by their pimps. And so they're going to keep on putting that dress on, going out there and on that whole stroll, selling that pussy. They're going to keep doing it. And it's men and women I'm talking to. These dudes are wearing dresses too. So, I mean, hey, it don't mean a fucking. You got dudes wearing dresses to get more roles so they can keep pimping. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that fucking crazy? You telling me I can take this straight ass dude, have him put on a dress so that he can keep selling the pussy, so he can sell the pussy to
Compromise him.
to
You
even more
compromise that
people.
motherfucker.
Not even hold up, but not even compromise though. Like that's not even compromise. Before you even get to compromise, that's surrender. That's surrender. You have surrendered. You're not fighting anymore. You have lost the moral ground. Your moral high ground has been surrendered and crumbled and turned into a bottomless pit that you are falling toward hell. Now, hell is not some fiery place. It is now in the mind of yourself that you created. That's the crazy part. That's the crazy part. The devil is in your head, fucking you up, nigga. You crazy. Ain't that crazy, man? That this motherfucker got people all up in their head thinking that blue is red, that green is orange. You know, it's all a mind fuck. But
Except
see,
not true.
right, because none of that is operating out of love. What's God? God is love. And so, do you think I'm lying? Make a baby. If you can't make a baby, have some stepkids. Go look at that baby and tell me what you see when you look in its eyes, when it smiles and reaches out to hug you. What is that? That's love.
That's real.
Where'd that come from? Ask yourself that question. I'm not going to answer it for you because you know the answer. I know the answer. But the problem is pimping. It's got the world fucked up. See, that's why these dark, evil-ass people go after children. Because that child represents divinity. That child represents
It's pure.
heaven. That child's pure essence is that thing that you love to hug and protect. That child is what you go out there and bust your ass for. Or that woman or your significant other, that feeling you get from that person motivates you. It motivates you to be a better person. It motivates you to do more, to fight for things, to fight for your lineage. There is no lineage with the devil. All that shit is his. You just gave everything to him. But yet, you have to remember that it's all a mind fuck. And you don't have to play that game. That's the crazy part about the world we live in now, is that the playing field is wide open. And you can make a lot of money and live a comfortable life. But at some point, that smoke is going to spread far and wide. And they're going to come to the smoke because they want some of that smoke. And they are going to come to you. And they're going to make you a deal. Question is, how bad do you want to be a hoe? How bad do you want to sacrifice everything, your freedom? Because when you make that Faustian, you give away all freedom. No border will protect you. No domicile will protect you. No weapon will protect you because it's all in your head. Then you got to ask yourself, what the fuck can I do? Don't sign the Faustian. Don't sign the deal to begin with. You know, I'm not going to address the motherfuckers who already like took the Faustian. I'm not even going to address that bullshit. I'm talking about all you civilians out there that got potential, that want to break through, that want to do something with yourselves. Just shine, man. Just shine. Live your life. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. Enjoy the simplicity and beauty of life. And just die, motherfucker. Die. Because the reason why everybody is struggling and fighting so hard to not sell their souls because they don't fucking know what's on the other side, because they don't have faith and they don't have knowledge of the Creator. They don't have awareness of the Creator. They don't know the truth of the Creator. And so therefore there's all this doubt. Look at the coronavirus and what that shit's done to the most unshakable motherfuckers. Got them shook. Man, bruh, I cannot tell you how many cats I have seen. The most trillest niggas, man, acting like bitches over this coronavirus bullshit. Have you seen it? I've seen it. I've seen
Day
it.
in and day out. Like, are you serious? You will change your whole lifestyle, get social engineering, pimping, if you will, and you're like, there's nothing tangible there. Don't get me wrong, it has made some old people die, but a lot of these other motherfuckers, I'm like, okay, they're surviving,
Right.
surviving, and now you want to take an injection that you're not sure about?
Oh, wait a minute.
Nah.
Hold on. How could we forget that? That's some serious pimping. Oh my God. They got so many hoes. So many hoes.
Mm-hmm.
They got the deepest stable ever. Dude, Bill Gates and Fauci. Man, them some of the trillest pimps ever. Trill as fuck, dude. They got so many hoes out here.
Slapping you in front of your kids, and they don't give a fuck.
Right. This back gorilla pimp slapping niggas in front of their kids. You know what I'm saying? And they ain't doing nothing. Them kids in line too. You know what I'm saying? Ah, so crazy. But bringing it back, man. Bringing it back. This whole thing about music, this music shit, dog. Listen, music can be used for good because spiritual music is a clear representation of that. And then music that isn't overly spiritual, that moves you in a positive way, is an example of that. I'm not saying that all music is evil. That's not what we're saying here. No. We're not saying that. What we're saying is that at the heart of the industry that creates 95% of the music that you are listening to are wicked ass people. And these people are part of the reason why black people insist on sitting in perpetual adolescence. Why grown ass men still want to walk around dressing like they're in high school, behaving like they're in high school. How people that are out of their 20s still want to behave like teenagers. When teenagers don't like the music that they're making for teenagers, that should tell you something. These very young people, Generation Z, they can see. There's a lot more discernment amongst Generation Z I am seeing than there was in millennials. They don't like the bullshit that the kids before them liked. And it's refreshing, actually. Their music taste is a little bit different. It's a little different. They tend to like a lot of old school shit, which is pretty interesting. But, there's bullshit in the old school stuff. So, all old school stuff ain't good, as we've been discussing here. Because, as I said, and I'll run down the list again of the major ones that you know. And I'm talking about DMX, Snoop Dogg, Katy Perry, Beyonce, Eminem, Kesha, Nicki Minaj, Lil Uzi Vert, Rihanna, Jay-Z, all these people, all these big names. There's smaller names, but we're not going to get into that. But all those names that I just mentioned, they are lap dogs. They ain't shit. They're not shit. None of them are shit. But yet you look up to these motherfuckers, man. You like rocking with them. You like rocking to their music. You bobbing your head so hard that you went deaf to what they're really saying. I'm going to say that again. You bobbing your head so hard, you went deaf to what these people are really saying in their music. These motherfuckers are saying they sold their soul and nobody bats an eyelash. Nobody says shit. It's because, well, your religious beliefs are your own. I'm like, man, fuck religion for a second. This is my soul we talking about. This is spiritual. This is spiritual shit we talking about right now. Fuck some religion, okay? I'm talking about spiritual shit, all right? The nuts and bolts. And when you talking about how I need to give up something, my gift, I need to give up my gift for what? For earthly shit? For shit that I can't take
My
with me?
connection to the Most High.
Right.
The thing that makes me divine.
So you're saying that you want me to stay indoors and you're going to give me all the most beautiful shit to put in this house to fill up in these rooms, but I can't go outside and I can't see the sun no more. I can't go outside and I can't feel the wind on my face anymore. I can't go outside and I can't listen to the birds. I can't go outside and feel wonderful 70-degree weather with no humidity. I can't do that no more, but I can stay in this house. I got bitches. I got big booty, light-skinned bitches in here. I got motherfucking everything's leather seats and shit. I got diamonds. Africans died to get these diamonds, but they mine now, nigga. I got all this shit. I'm cool. Are you? Because you can only snort so much cocaine before your nasal cavity dries up with all the nosebleeds that you've had, or your heart stops. You ever notice how so many people that do cocaine always talk about how they got a fucked up heart later on? Because that shit eats up the aortas inside your heart valve. It just fucks it all up. There's a price for everything. There's a serious price for everything. And the price for fame that a lot of people are paying is their soul. The concept that they are giving away their connection to the divine. You see? Really?
You can't buy that back. You can't get that back. There's no refund.
Well, think of this like a school. Why would you let somebody turn in your homework? Why would you let this is what I'm gonna say. I'll put it to you like this. Why would you let a dumb motherfucker?
Your shit.
Oh no. They're not. It's worse than that. Why are you letting a dumb motherfucker do your homework for you and turn it in? And you know this motherfucker is dumber than you. And you letting this motherfucker turn that shit in? Well, he knows people. And he has jewelry and he has bitches and he has a private jet. But he dumb as fuck though. And it's fucking up. You're not gonna pass his class, man. You're not going to pass his class. You're not going to graduate from Earth. Okay? If you don't graduate from Earth, you fucked. Then what? That means... Hold on. Wait, hold on. You're going to repeat this. You're going to repeat this grade again. You're going to repeat your Earth grade again? Really? Because look, man, I got discernment. And I can tell you, man, I can't see with my eyes, but I see with my soul. And on the other side of that graduating class, when they hand me that diploma and I cross through those gates, homie, it is the shit. Okay, it's even better than this. So you got me fucked up if you think that I am going to let somebody else do my fucking homework and take my test, knowing that son of a bitch is way stupider than me. Kick rocks, dude. Get the fuck out of there with that dumb shit.
Hey, don't forget the Jizz's second album.
Oh,
Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth. Bible.
Yes.
Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth. That's what Bible stands for. The Jizza was ahead of his time. I'm just putting it out there, y'all.
No, I still got that shit. I got that shit on CD. Yeah, it's yeah, man. I mean, really though. People need to stop falling for the pimp game. You know what I mean? Like, just simple and straightforward. Just stop letting motherfuckers pimp you. All right? Even though I'm saying this is the music industry, I'm also saying don't fall for the pimp game at your job. Don't fall for the pimp game, especially in politics.
Anywhere.
Politics. Don't fall for it in sports. Don't fall for that shit in movies. There's so much bullshit in movies as well. Speaking as a filmmaker, there's so much bullshit in movies that make you and teach you how to hate yourself, seriously, black man, black woman, everybody else, stop fucking hating yourself. Stop letting these motherfuckers put game over on your ass. That's the only fucking thing that's setting you back. Straight up. We out. Peace.
Holla.